Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. We have a very special GoldFish Report for you today, and it's going to be a very casual conversation with a very special guest, Duncan O'Finian. Duncan is a unrecognized military augmented asset, and he can go into more detail about exactly what that means. I'm very, very excited about having Duncan with us today. The ambassador, unfortunately, is not able to join us today, but he will join us on a future GoldFish Report. But I also wanted to, before we get started, I also wanted to put a few announcements out there, and I wanted to let our viewers know that one of our friends of the GoldFish Report, Randy Kramer, Captain Randy Kramer, is going to be on Coast to Coast this Friday. And we want and hope all of our viewers will tune in to listen to Randy and talk about his experience on Mars and new things that are coming up. In terms of disclosure and all of that as well, I think Randy has some new information. So we want to make sure that our viewers know that we appreciate your viewing. Our last GoldFish Report was phenomenal, and we appreciate everybody who viewed and also all of our new subscribers. And we want to remind all of our viewers that in order for us to bring this programming to you, that it's so important to go to our guests' websites that we always put in our description section and support what they're doing. All of them have websites. All of them have websites and need to continue programming and interviews and bringing you information like this. It's important that it's all viewer funded. So it would be great, it would be helpful for everybody to keep that in mind, that to keep bringing this information to you, to please donate and to support our guests and the stories and information that they bring to you. And having said that, I am very excited to welcome Duncan O'Finian. Duncan, thank you so much for joining us on the GoldFish Report.
Hi, how are you?
We're having a great time.
We are.
Duncan and I, maybe because we're both from the South. Well, we have my family's half from the South. I can't.
We've been chatting for a while, just having a good time. That's.
And it's we had to finally decide to get started because we.
Listen, I'm still fighting hornets and yellow jackets over here. So if you see a knife come across like this, I'm cutting them in half. So don't worry about it.
No worries. We, get them. Go get them.
I'm allergic to them, and I don't have an EpiPen right now. So.
Oh, okay. So no, we don't want you getting stung. I know my sister was too. I want to start with a little bit of background. A lot of our viewers, may or may not be familiar with you. Some of our viewers will be. But just a little bit of a background about how you got into the military and how you became this augmented asset. What does this really mean?
Okay, well, first of all, I was never actually in the military. Now, a lot of people out there today, different websites and whatnot, are trying to say that I claimed I was. No, I'm sorry, guys. I was not in the military. There are no medals, no honors, no accolades, no pay, no back pay, no anything. I was never officially in the military. What it means to be an unrecognized military asset means that you did not swear an oath to the military, but you worked for the military. Now, with that being said, I was not a volunteer into anything. I was put into an MK Ultra project, a sub-project of 172 sub-projects under the umbrella of MK Ultra in 1966, known as Project Talent. At 6 years old, I was traumatized, physically, emotionally, mentally, until I split into an alternate personality. The alternate personality was then traumatized, brutalized, and enforced until it could be switched on and off. When it was switched on, it was trained. When it was switched off, all it did was observe. And this carried on most of my life until I was basically 36, 37 years old, when a automobile accident finished off what was left of my neck from a helicopter crash, and after that, a military aircraft crash somewhere else other than here. If you want to get into that, we'll do that later.
Okay.
To where an MRI procedure meshed with an implant that is right here beside the pineal gland, and it failed. It stopped. And all the memories from here to here came crashing back. And all the nightmares, all the daymares, all the memories came flooding back, and I knew this isn't BS, this is all real.
At what point did you realize that these were your memories, and did you ask yourself, how come you don't remember having them?
I knew things were wrong from the time I was in my mid-teens. The programming really did not work that well with me. I was a rebel even as an alter. I was disciplined for not following orders many times, even in the alter Omega Unit 197. I was an asshole, okay? I'm proud of it. But I knew from the time I was 15, 16, things just, nothing was right. Nothing was not as it seemed.
Let me just ask one question. I'm sorry. Did your parents know what was happening to you?
My father was ex-CIA. My mother just flat didn't give a crap. My two brothers and sister, besides not giving a crap, at that time during my life, verbally wished that I had never been born, so we can move on from there.
Okay, so is this typical of military families where the children are involved in these kinds of projects? Did you find you were that you weren't the only one, that there were others in a similar kind of recruitment scenario?
This is typical. This is absolutely typical. As far as the parents goes, there is financial compensation. Absolutely. As far as the brethren, the brothers, the sisters, so on and so forth, there is promise of future accolades, as it were, which, as I've become aware to know over the past 20 years or so, have been held up. That bargain was honored. With that being said, there is a payback to that, which means you, as the brethren, the brothers, the sisters, the cousins, whatnot, so and so on, deny everything. And this is not just indicative to myself. It's the way it is with all of us.
So this augmentation, was this part of, was any of this augmentation from, let's say, off-world technology?
Off-world, I cannot say. Do I believe so? Yes. Can I confirm that? No. The augmentation that I am aware that I have is multiple implants, one in the right shoulder, behind the ear, that which is the voice-to-skull communication technology. The one that was here that burned out during the MRI, which was devised to keep the memories separate. My memories of the individual you're speaking to now, and the memories of the organically created 197 unit to keep these separated. Okay. There's other things that was augmented, one being the adrenal glands, which is above, we all know it's on top of the kidneys that during fight or flight kicks an organic compound in the system, which increases speed, power, perception, so on and so forth. Mine is half again as big, larger than normal, verifiable on x-ray. Beyond that, there are things in my blood work, in the blood genome, in the DNA that, to quote one doctor, I don't know what the hell you are.
Ew.
And his quote, I don't know what the hell you are.
So they couldn't type your blood, is that it, or was it beyond?
No, you can type the blood. My blood type is AB negative.
Oh, you're AB negative?
I may be negative. I am part Nephilim, yes. That was confirmed many, many years ago. And to the general public out there, no, we're not all bad. The biblical account of Nephilim in the Bible is very small. It's a very, very short series of passages. The Christian preachers, so on and so forth, try to make it out to be what it is not. A Nephilim is any human that has angelic blood. That does not mean they are a giant. That does not mean they are a monster going to devour entire neighborhoods, so on and so forth. It just means we have angelic blood.
So otherwise that's like misinformation, though, to kind of maybe steer people away from what really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That. So that's interesting. And this, I had seen one of your interviews where you had said, I don't know if I have the number right, but your knee kick was 125 miles an hour or something. I mean, you have these abilities that are just not, not typically human.
It's not typically human, but at the same time, it's more typical of. Okay, this I'm trying to figure out an exact word phrasing to make all this make absolute sense.
Okay.
You have to go by body weight and mass times speed. Okay. When these tests were performed, and these were done independently, I had a friend of mine at that time who owned a facility in Burlington, Wisconsin, known as the Omni Center. It was a gym, a restaurant, a physical therapy center where they did the testing on the Green Bay Packers, other professional sports teams, so on and so forth. And I was tested. Mm-hmm. My right foot kick, front leg round kick, was measuring at 120 miles an hour. My body weight at that time was about 185. Extrapolate the mass times the body weight, it doesn't fit. My punching power with the right hand, and I want to get into that very briefly, was that more than a heavyweight professional boxer at 180 pounds body weight. And he's looking at me like this makes no sense to me whatsoever. Now, I had known this gentleman for 3 years. He had been to my school. He and I had trained together. I've been to his school, so on and so forth. There was a rapport there between he and I and some of his students, so on and so forth. Now, when you look at the augmentation, my arm length is longer. It's abnormal. My hand size is abnormal. It's smaller. What this does, and with the bone conditioning that we were put through to case harden our bone, our cellular system, when you imagine a ball peen hammer. You know what a ball peen hammer is.
Right.
You have a large area here, a small pointed area on the back. If you take 100 pounds PSI, you use the large area on a piece of wood, you strike it, you get it damaged to an area this large. Flip it over, use the exact same force, 100 pounds PSI. Bam, you get a huge indentation, which equates to penetration. Okay? 100 times more damage per square inch. I'm sorry, 10 times more damage per square inch.
And why is that?
Well, when you augment someone physically, when you control their genetics and their growth, you increase the length of the arms, you decrease the size of the hands, you increase the thickness and density of the bone. What you do is create a physical, I'm struggling for words because I've never answered this in this scientific of a frame before. I've always said that means what I hit, I killed. Done. Let's move on. You create a ball peen hammer.
Contraption.
You create a physical mechanical contraption. When it lashes out, multiplies times 10 per cubic square foot.
Isn't this this sounds very transhumanist to me.
Yeah.
Is this like part of this? Is this where this whole transhumanist agenda kind of was born? Was it born in these military or MyLab type programs and things like that?
No, they just manipulated my DNA through birth.
All right, wait, through birth.
Through growing up. I was informed that I was conceived in a test tube.
Okay.
Or I should say a petri dish. Now, do I believe that? Can I honestly conceive that is possible with the technology? Absolutely. But I have seen my own x-rays. I've seen my own MRIs. I've had doctors take x-rays of my kidneys, and the way I found out I had physical kidney damage. I was hit across my lower back and received kidney damage. And he pops them up in the x-ray machine and he says, holy shit, you got adrenal glands like nothing I've ever seen. And that's when I first found out about it. This was before any flood of memories coming back. All I knew at that time is that something wasn't right. I was having nightmares. I was having daymares, which is more commonly called visions, so on and so forth. And I just knew my life wasn't right.
Missing time.
Missing time, so on and so forth.
Right, missing time, exactly. Now, you were in what's called Project Talent, and
correct.
Why did they call it Project Talent?
It was called Project Talent because they were looking for mixed blood, specific generational kids that had specific talents, psychic talents, esoteric, magical talents, so on and so forth. They were looking for a very specific group of individuals. In my case, I was part Irish Celtic, part Cherokee, and part Viking or Norse, which with the blending, hundreds of years before Christopher Columbus, there was the blending of the marrying of the Viking, the Norse blood with the Cherokee. So that combined into one. So they were looking for this specific combination.
Interesting. So does this have anything to do with this metagene factor?
Correct. It does. It also has to do with esoteric knowledge and the way esoteric arts are trained. Normally, when as a kid grows up in modern, it's just like modern society, okay? They say they see things, they hear things, they know things. What does the parent say? It isn't real. It's a fairy tale.
Right.
Go to sleep, put it away. Well, after 4, 5, 6 years of not acknowledging the information, not acknowledging what is real, you shut it off.
Right.
You turn it off.
Yes.
It's like someone who was very close to me years ago who had a gift of being able to see and speak to the dead. They couldn't take it anymore, so over a period of years, they kept turning it off until the gift was gone. Well, with not just the Norse, but all Scandinavian cultures, the Native American, specifically to this case, the Cherokee culture, they don't say turn it off. They expand on it. They want you to go there.
Okay.
And that's the bloodline that they were looking for. And now, knowing years later, after the first handful of interviews that I did, they were looking for the Nephilim bloodline as well, so on and so forth. Many more factors involved than I knew of when I first started flapping my mouth about this.
Now, we're not talking about Anunnaki here.
No, two
Different.
totally different things.
Okay. So these were special skills and abilities. And I know, I hope we can just talk briefly about really ultimately the ultimate use of these skills and abilities was an experience you had in Vietnam.
Correct.
I think that, is this where ultimately this kind of thing was leading? This is these kinds of abilities was for these kinds of missions ultimately. Is that right?
Ultimately, it's still only a small part.
Okay.
So what I've came to realize, and remember, I've been at this for many, many years. I've been working with this for a very long time. The 12 of us forming a semicircle, holding hands, raising our hands, and firing a blast out. That's what's commonly known as a psychotronic blast. So what you would look at are 12 of us kids, 12 batteries hooked up together. There had to be someone to pull the trigger. It wasn't me. I was in the center. I was controlling the batteries inside, but I didn't pull the trigger. So there had to be an adult that pulled the trigger. Now, as powerful as that was only a fraction of what they ascertained and what they wanted us to become as we grew.
Gotcha. Okay.
As I was told by one of the military people who was on the ground there in Cambodia many years ago, they were told we were flying in a weapon and we have to put it together when it gets here. And he says he saw a chopper land and 12 kids walk out of it. And by putting it together, we just walked out and held hands.
And you were one of them.
I was one.
And do you know, now I guess you guys were all in an altar at this time, is that right?
Correct. Yes.
And do you know any of these other kids?
I knew one.
Are they still working in the military?
No, but she's still alive as far as I know, yeah.
And what about the others? You don't know what happened to them?
No idea. No idea.
Why children? Why did they use children?
They use children for various reasons. One being children are like putty or like clay. They can be molded. They don't quite know right from wrong. If you're going to split a personality to do very hideous and insidious things, split it while it's very malleable putty.
Right.
And also, children have no no conceived notions of right or wrong. What a child takes in, it takes in.
Okay.
Belief system is entirely different, and emotionally, a child trusts everyone.
Mm.
And so that is preyed upon and used.
Totally exploited. Completely exploited. Yeah.
See, when I was taken in 1966, I was 6 years old. Now, what I was informed of years later is that in the group that I was taken in with, it was some kids worldwide. It wasn't just, in this country or Canada, France, England. It was worldwide, looking for very specific bloodlines. Out of 1,000 of us, only a couple of hundred survived.
What happened to the rest?
They died.
And what about their souls?
Gone.
Where?
Who knows? They could have captured them. They could have been using them now. They could have gone home. I hope they went home, but I can't answer that.
How do they capture souls?
Oh, that is necromancy on steroids, is the capturing of souls. If you want to talk necromancy, go back to the Old Testament, biblical. That is the only magical practice that is forbidden in the Talmud, is necromancy. That is the controlling of a soul, a spirit, or a ghost to do your bidding. It is the only forbidden art that there is, magically speaking.
It should be forbidden.
It's the only one that is forbidden, is necromancy.
I mean, that is just what happens to those souls who are trapped. I mean, it's obviously not their free will to be trapped. So aren't there any protections to a soul who doesn't want to be trapped? Is that?
Well, that they can be tricked. They can be tricked into going through light A instead of light B. What do you choose? Curtain A, 1, 2, or 3, Monty Hall. Choose, which door, that kind of thing. As flamboyant and as crazy as this sounds, we're talking esoteric here.
Right.
To where normal rules don't apply. And when you're talking about at the point of death, when a soul is released, if you have the process in place, whether it be dark mages or magicians or technology to where you can capture that soul, you can. You can. Now, you are holding that soul illegally. But it's just like anything else. If I go out and steal a car and drive it across country, I'm still getting use out of it. If you hijack a child's soul, you're still drawing the power from it, even though it's illegal. Universally and esoterically, it's illegal. You're still doing it.
So there's like then this recycling. People can actually do this soul recycle. Is this what the whole reincarnation? Is that a trap? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that is something that Susan and I have been talking about recently, the whole reincarnation thing. And the reason that I don't have an answer, I'm not a reincarnate. I don't have reincarnations here. I have one. That's it. And that was during the 30s and 40s, and that had to do with the Philadelphia experiment. So I'm not a soul reincarnate here. So my knowledge of that is very, very lax. It's very limited.
You just mentioned the Philadelphia experiment, so I have to.
Yeah, that was the prelude to CERN. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, right. But this ties into the Montauk
Montauk was in the middle.
Okay. Okay. Is Montauk tethered to CERN today?
I don't know. Camp Hero, as far as I know, which was where the Montauk project took place on Long Island, was filled in with concrete some time back. Which, might. Boy, am I going to get some emails for this. What the hell?
Go for it, Duncan.
What the hell? My father was part of Montauk. Okay. He told me when I was in my 20s, he was at Camp Hero. And he helped run security for Camp Hero, for the project. Now, what he told me, and this was a decade before I had even heard the name Peter Moon, is that there was a sister project going on just outside Mexico City. And they kept him busy traveling from Mexico to New York, Mexico to New York, back and forth, back and forth. Now, Camp Hero may be totally inactive and dead. That doesn't mean there aren't other camps that are very active. But if you're asking me, do I think CERN is connected with anything else going on right now? No. CERN is an entity unto itself, and they don't need to connect it to anything else. If you want to do the history and the backtracking of CERN, we can go from CERN, the Philadelphia experiment, to the Eldridge, to Stonehenge, and then let's go right on back, and then see the progression in reverse as we come up. It's the esoteric technology of opening a doorway between dimensions.
Okay, and this is what went wrong with the Eldridge, is that correct? Or was it in the teleportation technology itself? Was it the time travel technology or the teleportation? What happened? How did these people become embedded in this ship? What happened? What went wrong? What did they not calculate for?
That was doing the phasing in and out. During the early years after Montauk, what they found out is that only organic material can travel back and forth through the doorways, quote, the portals. Only organic material. Human flesh, blood, bone, cotton, canvas, things of the earth. Only organic. No metal. Okay, no plastics, no aluminums, no weapons, none of this. I know this how, because I went through a couple as a child. They have since then found a way to shield through that. I would suggest, can't believe I'm going to say this, because Carrie and Cassie and I don't like each other at all. As a matter of fact, we can't stand each other.
Well, now that you said that.
Awaken Aware 2013. Listen to the interview with Arthur Norman, Henry Deacon, toward the end where he talks about the hallway with the transport of transporting from Earth to Mars. He actually talks about that, to where in the beginning, years ago, decades ago, only organic material could be transported.
So we're talking about a jump room, a wormhole.
Well, there's a difference between a jump room and a wormhole itself. A jump room has all the different shielding through it. That's human technology constructed. Wormholes are natural. They're organic. They're all through the universe. And we create a device to tap into it. That's the difference.
Are they the same as black holes? I mean, is that what a wormhole is, a black hole?
Depends on which theoretical physicist you talk to.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay. And I'm not one. So
Okay. So the technology, though, is this Brookhaven as part of the Montauk? Are they
Yes.
connected somehow?
There's natural portals that are out there. If you believe a lot of the legends, and I do, because all legends are based in elementary fact,
Mm.
during the time of the Elven, here on Midgard, which is Earth back before the Dark Ages, when Merlin left with the Elven, he closed all the large gates, or as we would call them, openings, doorways, wormholes, so on and so forth.
Okay.
If you want to know where a wormhole or gate is, just get a map of military bases. That's all you have to do.
Right.
Have you ever wondered why they built a military base out in this godforsaken place where they have to fly supplies in? It's because it's sitting on top of an opening. It's sitting on top of a doorway.
So how many portals are here or on the planet?
I have no idea.
So as many military bases, you're saying, pretty much.
Some are locked in. Some are astrological in nature. They open during certain astrology conjunctions, and then they close.
Oh. So what about Stonehenge? I think you mentioned Stonehenge before.
Yeah, that was
I hear everything you say.
that was try number one. Okay.
Okay. I see.
It didn't work out from what I understand.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Is that why is there some reason why these crop circles appear over in that area all the time? Is that?
Yeah. Crop circles, believe me, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I've done a very, very minimal amount of research. Some of them are man-made, yes, no doubt about that. Tricksters, hoaxers, whatever. But when you're looking at a 50-acre section of property and you have cameras set up and there's no one in there, and then all of a sudden the crop circle's there, yeah, take a look at it. There's something there.
It seems to me that if we know what cymatics is and we watch some of these experiments on, come around on YouTube and whatnot, and they have a vibrational frequency that is transferred to this plate with the salt on it, and then it creates these geometric patterns. It occurred to me that this is how there must be, is this a similar process, would you think, that how they make these through a cymatic frequency, like the earth has its own resonance field, and so it knows. So, I mean, because it seems to make these geometric patterns so easily on this plate when the tones are emitted, that it seems that it could make the crop circles that quickly because they're all geometric. They're all very geometrical shaped. Is that what you understand? That's how it.
That's basically my understanding. Yeah. When you're talking about sound frequencies, as we talked about a little while ago, vibrational frequencies,
right.
That is the same thing that is used to lift heavy objects. It is the same thing to heal. You can use it to heal. You can use it to stun, and you can use it to kill.
Heavy objects like blocks to a pyramid?
Yeah, something like that. Energy is energy, okay? It doesn't matter how you summon it up esoterically or pull it in mechanically. Energy's energy. It's what you, this is true. This is true alchemy. It's the changing of one substance into another. If you take sound energy and change the frequency, you can split it off into different directions. One frequency can heal, one can make a crop circle, one can kill, and so on and so forth. That's the transmutation of one form of energy into different forms of energy.
Okay, but you're
saying energy.
Right, but as with everything else, you can use it for good purposes, or you can use
good or evil. I give the example of someone dying of thirst at a well, and he collapses before he can draw the water up.
Mm.
A passerby comes by. Now, he's got two choices. He can draw up some water, take that cup, cradle that man's head, give him sips of water, save his life. Or he can take that cup of water, smash it over him, and drown him. Now, does that make the water evil? No, it doesn't. The water's the water. Regardless of which direction he goes, it's the same water.
Okay, that's a good
It's
point you're
about the
making.
intention. It's about the intent.
Well, it's a good point you're making, because I know that you, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but I know that you give workshops, and what's important about these workshops is that it teaches people, you teach people how to work with energy.
Yes.
And you use the word magic, and I think some people might fear that because they don't understand it, and they don't understand that it's not the magic that's bad, it's what you do with it. And you even said it came down to, once you become a practitioner, that it really comes down to being so incredibly mindful of the words and the thoughts that you hold, because you I guess, what would you say, you manifest that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, here's a rule of thumb. Okay, this is the rule of thumb. The more adept you become, the more powerful you become, the more energetic you become, the more responsible you have better become.
Right. Well, what happens if you're not? I mean, the dark, though, have been, we were talking about this before, the dark have been so successful, because even though they've had differences, they knew if they were united, they could be more powerful. And it's through that they have enslaved us on this planet.
Yeah.
Well, what I think humanity needs to learn is that we need to learn this for ourselves, that we have the same power, but we don't need to use the dark power. We use the light, and combined we could be a more formidable force against the dark.
Yes, exactly.
And the religion and the languages that divide us are meant to divide us and keep us from doing this. So go ahead, Duncan.
Look at magic as a way to focus your intention. When you bring it down to its lowest rudimentary scale, that's what it is. It's a way to focus your intention. If your intention is to do good, you will be challenged by the dark side. Now, we can put any kind of label on the dark side we want. Cabal, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, dark side, it doesn't matter. They're all of the same ilk. They all follow the same blueprint. They all get their marching orders from the same person, whatnot. It doesn't matter. They're all over here. We're over here. Where we use magic, where we use technology, it's all to help focus our intentions. If our intentions are dark to begin with, then we're already over here. All right. They don't have to do anything.
So intention, we're talking about not just your thought, you're talking about what's in your heart.
Yeah. Now, that can be your thought, too. One of the things that I was taught very, very early on, see, when I was in the projects, when I was in Project Talent, I was sent either to Ireland or Wales to learn from Druids. And one of the things I was taught straight up, be careful of your thoughts. Manifest your intentions. So if you go around day in and day out thinking bad stuff about people, it will manifest. If all you have are ill-intentioned thoughts, it's going to manifest. And slowly, your soul will turn dark. And then they've got you. On the flip side of that, if you go around day after day after day, no matter how many arrows in the back you take, how many knives in the heart you take, if you keep your thoughts and your intentions pure, you stay there. You stay pure, and you scare the shit out of them.
Duncan, what you're saying is really hard to do. I mean, this has not been an easy place to, this incarnation, no matter how many we've had, this is a rough place to be.
Yes, and, it is.
Many people's wounds run very deep. And,
they do.
Whether they're physical, psychological, emotional, they don't always heal. Sometimes they bleed again and over and over and over again. And how do you stay, what can you tell people? I mean, how can they not, hold some sort of anger or resentment in their heart because,
There's nothing wrong with anger. It's misplaced anger that is wrong. There is righteous anger. If you and I are walking down the street of Denver, New Jersey, and we see a group of teenagers take a homeless person, pour gasoline on him and set him on fire, if that does not ignite anger in us,
right,
we're dead inside. And we're dead inside. That's righteous anger. Holding in anger just for the sake of anger is what's bad. That's what the dark side plays on. They want you angry. Now, anger is an emotion, and emotion is energy. Depends on which way you want to play it. It's like a deck of cards. You got an ace. How am I going to play it? I can play it here and play it safe. I can play it here, take a chance on winning the hand. It's on how you play that card. It's on how you play it.
So what you're saying is that people are manifesting the life they're living, whether they know it or not.
Whether they know it or not. If things boomerang, energy has a way of boomeranging back. Okay? If you live your life day after day after day, and you're going to work, and you resent every person you see, if you resent that person for holding a woman's hand because you don't got nobody, you resent that person for driving a nice car when you're having to walk. If you resent, it's going to boomerang back on you. And guess what you're doing? You're destroying yourself in one aspect, and then you're fueling the dark side over here.
Okay, people don't know this.
They don't. They don't see that. They don't see that.
No one taught them this.
No.
Okay, our schools didn't teach us this.
No.
Our religion didn't teach us this.
Oh, hell no.
So where are people supposed to learn this?
That's a good question, and it's inside. It's inside each of us. It's in us. We all know it. It's in us. We're all born with the knowledge of universal law. And the first law of universal law is impede not the free will of others, which can be broken down into so many different ways.
But aren't the dark going to be held accountable for all of their evil deeds? I mean, I know they say they trick us. It's due, consent. No, I have this whole argument about consent. I mean, it's not consent if it's not informed consent.
Universal law is like any other law. It can be broken, or it can be bent, or it can be warped. As a gray walker, I have been known to bend it a few times to get the results that I wanted. To the absolute strictest policy of the question that you just asked, yes. Each and every soul will be held accountable for every infraction against universal law they have impacted. They will be held accountable. You, me, everyone will be held accountable.
When? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so anxious to know that.
But what it comes down to.
This is something I had in mind, but go ahead.
Here's what it comes down to. Why did you bend that law? Well, I was trying to save that person's soul because they sold it when they were 15, and they really didn't know what they were doing because they had been tortured, and I'm using the law in my favor here, so screw you.
Okay.
Now, the dark side is going to do, guess what? The same thing. They're going to say, well, I'm bending the law because that person was 15. Yes, but they were past the age of consent. They knew what they were doing was wrong. Whether they were tortured and in pain and agony doesn't matter. They knew. And that's where mediators come in and so on and so forth.
They must be busy.
Yeah, I used to be. This is
Just because someone's the age of consent doesn't mean that they are mature enough and wise
No.
enough to know that a
No.
number shouldn't be the rule. So that's
the age of consent means the age of consent biblically, I'm sorry, just throw biblical out of this. Let's say through church law means you are past the age of knowing right from wrong. Now here's the loophole with that. You got someone who is past the age of reasoning, past the age of knowing right from wrong, but all they've ever known is one side. All they've ever known is the evil, the dark side. They don't know this side even exists.
true. Okay.
So
That's
do they truly know right from wrong? You get a child who was born into a ancestral family in the backwoods of Arkansas.
You okay there? You get that, Pete?
Let's say Arkansas.
Okay. Oh, what state was
Those
that? Arkansas.
They come out of those mountains at 15. You think they would know right from wrong, but they don't. They don't. Genetically, they're screwed up. They've never been taught anything, so they don't. That's where, at that time, someone like we brought in and would argue for them or against them, I would make that call.
Only if they wanted.
Only if they wanted, so on and so forth. And then that's where it gets difficult. That's where it goes beyond judging right from wrong. Because unfortunately, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, right and wrong is subjective. We gauge right and wrong on our beliefs. Problem is, so does the dark side. They believe what they're doing is right. Subjectively, what they're doing is right in their minds.
You know, this is really the problem. This is the problem.
That is the problem.
This
That
is
is
the problem.
Yes, it is.
This is the absolute obstacle, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Now, how do you fix it? You shut down the whole system. You step out of the game. We all step out of this game. We let the people in charge fight it out themselves. When we tell the people fighting it out, now, go away. Leave us alone. We'll build our own lives. We'll create our own universe. We will choose what's right and what's wrong for us as a collective, as a whole.
So, I mean, bringing children into these programs, at 6 years old, there's no possible way to give a child a chance to make a choice whether they want to be in the program or not. I mean, it's not, that they hijacked your life is what they did.
That's correct. That's correct. You're taken in at 6, you're physically tortured until you do one of two things. You split off into an alternate personality or you die.
Okay. I mean, there's got to be some kind of common sense. Has anyone heard that word lately?
No. Well, I like what Susan said. Common sense ain't so common.
It's not. But there has to be some common sense. I mean, there's enough research out there to know that child abuse has lifelong consequences to children.
Yeah, but you see,
okay?
The people who do this, let me split it up into groups here. The scientists involved in this believe what they are doing is to benefit mankind.
So a few souls are going to be lost
in the future. So losing 1,000 kids in 1966 is acceptable losses to them. Now, I can't fathom or understand how they rationalize this in their minds. Were they controlled themselves? Maybe. Were they attached, demonically attached? Maybe. Or are they just that much of a intellectual minus the emotion that they could just totally take that out?
Wait,
I don't know.
this was in the 60s, right?
Yeah, but this stuff started in the 20s.
But you heard of the Stanley Milgram study, right?
Yeah.
A psychologist, where he would have somebody sit at like this box that would have levers on it.
Okay, yeah.
Be connected to somebody in another room who was supposed to be, electrocute. They were supposed to be electrocuting the person with different shocks, right? And so at this time in our society, it was always adherence to authority. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was like respected authority, didn't question authority. And so what happened in the study, if you're familiar with it, was that people would hear the people screaming. They would still turn the electricity higher and still hear the people screaming and, still continue to do it because the guy in the lab coat, it's the lab
telling them to do so. And a 40 figure was telling them to do so.
An authority figure.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. The authority figure. Yes.
That's because humankind has been brought up through so many successive generations to obey the authority. Do not question, obey.
So this is, okay, wait. So this is where religion comes in, obey. Religion, obey. And this is where it came from. This is it's really such an evil plan. It's so evil what they've done to humanity.
I know.
It's so incredibly, and they do this so incrementally. It's not done like all at once, because if you ask somebody a question, or if you ask them their opinion or to do something that sounds a little bit outrageous, immediately they would have this, response to, oh, I could never do something like that. But if you incrementally get them to make small little rationalizations as they go along over a long period of time, they'll eventually maybe get to agreeing and consenting.
Exactly. It's like the way they split our personalities. The physical traumatic trauma, build it a little more, day in and day out. Okay, build it a little higher every day. Now, this does two things. One, it increases our individual pain tolerance. Because when that split happens, they want a perfect split. Okay? If it's not a perfect split, let the kid die. They don't care. And when it builds up to that point, when they finally crank it all the way up and the kid's head drops, heartbeat stops, and then all of a sudden the heartbeat comes back, the head comes up, and it's a total different personality that does not feel the electric shock going through it. It's totally disassociated from the body. That's the alternate personality that they want. And that's what they got.
How many get created? Is it different for different programs or different for different people? Or
it's different for every individual. It's different for every program. In my case, what I was told is that back in the 90s, there was less than 20 of us left alive. So my guess is maybe 4 or 5 of us now.
How is it that you're able to talk about this? And
I'm stubborn and I'm stupid.
Well, I mean, they don't want you talking about this, right?
No, I'll pay for this. I always do.
Are you breaking all the rules right now?
Hell yeah, I'm good at that.
Then you're in the right place. So, okay, I want to kind of show a little video here. We're talking about energy, and I know that the focus that you have, a certain part of you has to put this in the past, right? I mean, you can't live this every day of your life now. You don't want to.
You put it in the past, but you take the lessons and the knowledge of the past.
Right.
And you use that now in the present. You just switch it from bad to good. Knowledge, energy, doesn't matter. It depends on what it's used for.
I'm going to play a little short video here. I'm not going to play all of it, but I want you to be able to explain this. I'm going to screen share in 1 second. And Now, in terms of using it for the positive, this is called chi energy or key energy.
Okay, yeah.
This is a practitioner. This is amazing stuff, and I know you understand this, and I'm hoping that you'll explain this. I'm not going to play the whole video, but I'm going to play a little bit of it so our viewers can see what we're talking about and how we use energy in a positive way. And it's not all dark and negative. So let me go ahead and play this. Oh, if I press the play button, that'll work.
It works. There you go.
Into his patients.
High-tech stuff.
Sometimes he used the needles. Sometimes just his hands. He called the energy chi, and it was so strong that he usually needed a grounder to hold his patients' feet. For years, we followed him around Java on his healing rounds.
I've seen this
We allowed to film him, but he always refused, saying his powers resulted from a type of meditation with an ancient tradition of secrecy.
He's a healer.
Lorne was suffering from a serious eye infection that he finally allowed us to film him.
He's one of the few I actually think's real.
It was nothing like any acupuncture I'd ever had. I was getting really powerful electric shocks and couldn't control my movements at all.
Yin yang, positive and negative. Positive from here and negative from here. And we meet together, this can get like electricity.
And is this because you're special? You have a special sort of
meditation every day.
It's meditation.
Meditation every day. Like you can touch me like this. It's nothing, okay? It might burn. It's like this.
For our sound recordist, it was also a shocker. He then took our newspaper outside and showed us how chi can also be used to set things on fire.
This part I'm skeptical of, but I'm asked, so, you know.
Oh, I saw this guy.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
When he heard we'd shown this footage in public, he was very upset and refused all our future efforts to contact him again.
Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a minute because I wanted our viewers to just kind of have an idea of this is really powerful energy.
Actually, I've seen this video before.
Oh, you have? There's more to it, but this is showing there's, I guess one of the reasons that this gentleman had agreed to do this was he felt this was an ancient art that was dying, and he wanted to preserve the wisdom, the knowledge. So Duncan, can you explain for us what were we really looking at there, and how do you work with energy like that?
Well, as far as the healing aspect, it's drawing the energy from the earth, the air, the sky, the wind, the elements, so on and so forth, into yourself, and then directing that into the client, the patient, for healing. It's in very deep internal thing. We all do it every day. We pull energy into ourselves. We all radiate energy. It's called an aura. The aura is not just a pretty color that we all, go around broadcasting out. The aura is our electromagnetic shield that we produce. And the color of it is debatable depending on the practitioner who reads it, so on and so forth. I don't put a whole lot, into the colors of it or whatnot. But in a lot of instances, it becomes cracked, holes, and in some of the cases that my wife and I have found, totally collapsed.
Collapsed. That
They
sounds
have
bad.
zero shielding, zero aura. Piece of.
Did you get him?
Got him.
Sorry, Duncan's having some interruption.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Wipe. First, wipe. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hey, well, I have fun doing this. But it's she, ki, te, God, I can give you a dozen different names for it. It's all the same. It's the pulling in of the light around us. We pull it into ourselves, and then we direct it out to a specific purpose.
Rebalance.
So for your martial arts, you're taking in this energy. How much of the martial arts then also, and I really wish the ambassador was here but he'll have to come in and talk about this next time.
Are we talking
Okay.
sport martial art, or are we, fuck you, mother, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Or
uncut and live here. Just keep it going.
where's my, or are we
There
talking,
was 3 of it was a war. He was
or are we talking traditional martial arts, which the ancient traditional martial arts are more esoteric than they are physical?
I think that would be what we're talking about, because
We're talking about the ancient martial arts, the
like even
esoteric arts.
Qigong and Tai Chi and Qigong.
Well, even Qigong Tai Chi is more modern, more recent than the more ancient. Okay. As an example, I hate doing this. I hate using myself as any kind of example. At one workshop, I had a guy. It was a huge workshop. I had him attack me as hard and as fast as he could. As his attack came in, I did a pivot, grabbed his arm and his shoulder, absorbed the attack energy, took 2 fingers in my right hand and tapped on the forehead. He went down like he'd been shot. It scared me a little bit.
It scared you a little, you said?
It scared me a little bit because it hit him harder than I thought it would. That's what we call the workshop is PTM, practical, tactical, magical. That's the.
You know what? I'm going to pull that up on screenshot while you're talking about it. Okay, so we can talk about it while the viewers are looking at that. Okay, are you okay there, Duncan?
No, I'm being attacked.
I feel bad. I don't know what.
That's the tactical side of the martial arts / energy workshop.
The years passed.
Sorry.
We sadly
wait,
resigned ourselves.
Sorry. Wait a second. Okay.
You see, the beauty of PTM is that it doesn't matter what age you are, what physical level you're at, whether you're on crutches or a wheelchair. It doesn't matter whether you run 10 miles a day.
Okay.
The practical aspects are the same for everyone.
So here it's breathing exercises to pull in energy. So you're saying we don't even know how to do that right? Is that right?
Not really. Most people don't know.
Okay. Using the environment to increase energetic outcomes. Nobody has a clue about this. Like, we don't even know what that means.
Earth energy, tree energy, energy from the air, and it even changes whether it's coming from the north, south, east, or west.
Oh, interesting. Utilizing energy to develop a personal shield. Yep. That's interesting. Like, that's, when do you want to do that? When do you need to do something like that?
Constantly.
Like right now, to get those bees away from you.
24/7.
Get that shield around you there. What does that mean? Is it like a bubble or something? Or
it means keeping that energetic bubble around you. Absolutely.
Bubble. Okay.
That is what warns you of danger. It's what warns you of dark energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's what warns you of demonics, jinn, etc., etc. It's what warns you.
Okay. Learning to direct energy and becoming sensitive to it. We're so distracted by so much in our environment that we don't, is this like through meditation, or I'm sure you have your own technique. You're right. Exactly.
We don't teach meditation as most people understand meditation.
Oh, okay.
What we do is like a living meditation. Be kind of half in, half out. Be in the world, but not of the world.
Okay.
As it were.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Recognizing energetic signatures, positive, negative, or individual.
Yes. basically entails meeting a person on the street that you are instantly drawn to, not because you think they're a movie star or good look or whatnot. They can be the ugliest creature walking down the street, but you just have that instant, you feel that goodness, you feel the heart. Okay.
An energy.
Or,
you're saying.
yes. Or on the opposite side of the coin, it can be the best looking thing walking down the street, but it makes you feel sick to look at them.
Right. Like, when you get, well, most people know when they get a bad vibe from somebody.
Exactly.
Is that what they're?
It's the vibration, but we crank it up like it's on steroids.
Wow. Because I think we're just too overstimulated. Our sensory overstimulation, so that we can't really feel. Now you're talking about subtle energies.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Using your soul here and now.
Okay.
That is something that a lot of people don't talk about. Religions definitely don't want you talking about. Is tapping in to the energy of your soul in the here and now.
Okay.
What we are spiritual beings.
Yes.
Okay. We are a soul. That is who and what we actually are. What we see here is a meat suit. Doesn't matter how it looks, how good, how bad, whatnot. It's a meat suit.
Yeah.
We are only a very small fraction of what we really are inside, because that is all we can hold. And what we need to start doing is tapping into what we really are, who we really are. Some people call our higher self.
Right.
It's actually tapping into what we really are.
What about our God, our I am presence, our co-creator, our co-creative capacity?
It all comes down to the soul.
Right.
It's the soul. That encompasses everything about us.
So let me continue. So group healing exercise addressing both the physical and emotional bodies through the healing spiral.
Correct. That depends on the modality of that. Depends on whether we're inside or outside.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We use nature as much as possible: flowing water, trees, a nice park, a nice backyard, depending on where we are.
Okay.
It's an energetic, emotional release that definitely shows physical results.
Interesting. Charging personal items such as crystals, medallions, jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to charge, or why would we want to charge personal items? And you mean electrical charge or?
Esoteric, electromagnetic, because we draw from them when we become weak. Because they are what they are. They're tools.
Okay.
They're not life-saving devices. They're tools.
Okay.
If you have a gun for self-defense, if you shoot empty, what do you have to do?
Yeah.
You have to reload it.
Got it.
It's the same thing with magical, esoteric tools. They have to be reloaded from time to time. They have to be recharged.
But what about the ones that are that have an energy on them already?
You clean that.
Yeah.
It's cleanable. It's like even large acreages.
Mm-hmm.
That is dark energy, and we've had some experience with that over the past couple of years. Transmuting, pure alchemic, with the symbols and everything, of transmuting that dark energy, running it through a filter and making it clean again.
Okay. Learn how to write spells. This is interesting.
That is learning how to put your innermost thoughts and intentions into verbal script.
Oh, this is level 2, I see. So you wouldn't be doing this. Someone wouldn't be ready to do that.
That's level 2.
Depending on the group, we can combine levels 1 and 2.
I see.
Depending on the people.
I see. That seems like it's a little bit more advanced, though.
I'll say this right now: we've never done a level 3 anywhere. So.
Okay. Learn how to douse energetic fields using a crystal. This is really interesting too.
Yeah, that's the first thing that happens at the beginning of every workshop, everyone gets put on a table and they get scanned, which most people would understand as dowsing.
Dowsing, right.
And we find the physical ailments, if there's dark attachments, if there's dark pockets, what have you, we find it.
Expanding how to defend yourself energetically in attacks.
That goes back to what we talked about with rendering someone unconscious just by reverse energy, tapping into the attack energy, focusing it through you, magnifying it, and knocking them out.
So using their own energy against them.
Yeah, when you absorb that energy, when you pull it through you, it becomes magnified.
Now, I'm going to screen share one other thing that you had just talking about this, learning how to douse the body, because I have another video queued up and ready that, where'd you go? No, did I lose it? Oh, here it is. Shoot from the hip. Shoot from the hip.
You're going to torture me, aren't you?
Are you okay? I know. I just do my research, but it's good stuff. I mean, it's really good stuff because this is exactly what you're talking about. Here's a woman who came to your workshop, and here, I'll let you explain.
How would you show it?
If you want to talk about it.
Well, now I'll just show them what came up on me.
Okay.
And we were talking about it last night, so I don't know if everybody can
Done.
but
There's the camera, you gotta get it.
let's see. This did come up on me last night here in the hotel. Can you see it? I think so, yeah.
It's like a bruise or something.
So he was
Yeah.
figure out exactly what that was, and because unfortunately I'd had issues where I would be sleeping and I'd have certain marks come up on me at different times, and I didn't understand why that was happening. And then when we got to the hotel yesterday and then stayed here last night, and then I woke up with this, and of course he knew exactly what that was. And so I don't know if anything happens to anybody else, but he's got a really good explanation for it. So, you want to?
Me? Oh.
Oh, believe me. Yeah, I remember this very well. I remember that morning very well, too.
What happened is the mark on her arm on the back of her tricep was not only called by a demon, it was demonic. There was a demonic inside the mark. And we did what commonly is called a short exorcism, and we pulled the fricker out. And we put it inside a crystal, and it's still in there. I had to figure out what the hell to do with it.
So I'm just going to stop here because that's fascinating. I mean, that's really interesting. So this woman really had like this demonic energy in her arm. I don't know how those things manifest like that, though.
That's what we do.
Right.
That's what we basically do from coast to coast.
Wow. How common is this?
More common than people realize.
Well, why do they do that? They're just looking for a host to feed
A
off?
host, control, demonics or dark side. The dark side controls demonics.
So
If you open yourself up, they jump on.
If your shield is down.
If your shield is down, they jump on.
when you open yourself up, how are people open to these things? I mean, it's not consent. So how do they get to jump in?
Yeah, believe it or not, more people give consent than they think. This is how tricky. Get these things off. A lot of times, I'm taking this all the way to one level, to one side, to save time. Let's say you got a group of teenagers, 18, 19, 20, and they're all 2 o'clock in the morning sitting around playing a video game, and one of them verbally states, I'd sell my soul to win this game.
Oh.
If they absolutely mean it, guess what?
Ooh. What if they only mean it like the moment, but like they're not really serious?
That's all it takes is that moment.
And if you said, oh, I wish this person was dead, I mean, what does that mean? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. You wish it, you pay for it.
That's not fair.
No, it isn't.
Sometimes people just, say it as an expression to release some steam, and they don't really.
Agree. I agree with that, and that is where the intentions of the heart and the soul come into play. Now, I took it as far to one side as I could, okay, to show the ramifications coming all the way through. Now, let's just say you've got a guy that works in an office, and he thinks he should be up for promotion, and somebody keeps beating him each and every time, and he says, you know what, I give my soul if that effort would die and I could get that job.
Ooh.
And then all of a sudden he hears a voice and says, what are you willing to pay for that?
Oh.
And he looks around and says, did I really hear that? Was it one too many scotches, or did I really hear that? And then he thinks, well, you know what? What's wrong with that? Who's gonna know? Who's gonna find out? And he says, yeah, I mean it. And then the guy dies. He gets the promotion, but guess what? He don't own himself anymore. His soul doesn't belong to him anymore.
Okay, can you get that back?
That's tough. That's tough. That's where an advocate comes in.
A what?
An advocate.
An advocate.
Someone to speak for the lost soul.
We must all be lost on this planet.
To some degree, a great many are. The last time we played that game was last week.
Oh, gee. People make mistakes, though. I mean, we're all, I think there's times that everybody has said, I could, I want to kill that guy, but not really want to kill them.
It
figure down. But speech is spell. I mean, that's the problem, right?
Speech is the spell. Verbalization of thought is spell work. I'm sorry, boys and girls, but if you think magic don't exist and you think you don't have anything to do with it, if you talk, if you write, you do, whether you realize it or not.
Okay.
It's part of us. It's part of creation. It's part of who we are. It depends on what you decide as an individual to do with it.
Energy flows or intention goes.
Oh, what'd she say? She's brilliant.
Go ahead, repeat.
I said energy flows where intention goes.
She's absolutely right. Energy.
Yeah.
Isn't she come on?
No.
She just said something brilliant. Now, could you repeat that?
We're the yin and the yang of everything. Here.
I see that. It's wonderful. Yeah. Energy goes
where intention flows.
No, energy flows.
Energy flows where intention goes. That was your saying.
No, that's on it's old Hawaiian proverb.
Okay.
Energy flows.
Goes where intention flows.
No, energy flows.
Energy flows where. Well, here.
That's why we need Susan. That's why we need Susan.
Energy flows where intention goes.
Energy flows where intention goes. Great. So
your intention goes somewhere. The energy is going to go that way.
Okay.
Okay. So this is law of attraction.
Would that be law of attraction?
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Law of attraction.
I guess to some degree.
To some degree, yeah, probably.
That's okay. Law of attraction.
I've never read the law of attraction, so.
Well, I guess it's just that you attract like kind. So
attracting like kind is like minds attract each other.
Right.
So it's kind of like energy signatures will attract to each other. The closer they get to signature energy, the more that you will be attracted to like groups.
All right, let's get to this. What is the most important thing our viewers should be thinking about and should be doing right now, aside from going to your workshops? Please, people, you have to understand that we're doing it all wrong. We don't really realize what we're doing, and it's by design this way.
It is by design. It's not so much that most people, oh God, I got the seat dirty, I'm sorry, honey, is that most people are doing it all wrong, is that they're doing it with the wrong intention. I made this statement, and we'll get into this on a subsequent talk, We'll talk about the Gray Walkers and what it took to be part of that group and so on and so forth.
Okay.
One of the main questions that was asked to be part of that group is, quote, could you give your life for a total and complete stranger for the saving of their soul? Yes or no? That's the question that was asked. If we live our lives thinking about nothing but the betterment or the increase in value of our bottom line, and we think nothing of the people around us, then we're thinking incorrectly. We have to think about the people around us as equal, if not more heavily. That's just the way it is. One of the things that I was taught years ago is you want to heal yourself, heal others. You want to help yourself, help others. The more we help others, the more we help ourselves. The more we heal others, the more healing we receive.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that we need to have more of like a commune type society where there's a mutual benefit, that there's no, haves and have-nots, that it's based on, everyone's needs are provided and people are free to pursue their own creative God-given abilities, and there's no 500,000 percent differential between the CEO and the workers.
Yeah.
That has to go, because
it does have to go. It does have to go. And I'm not talking about, we're odenistic. Okay. And if you want to see what that is, go read, the creeds of Odinism, so on and so forth. It gives you an idea and an understanding of communal life the way that Susan and I believe.
Well, can you repeat that just so I can put that?
Odinistic, the rules and laws of Odin.
Oh.
The ancient Norse, the Viking. What you said is correct, but turn it more towards esoteric, more toward heart, mind, and soul. Okay? Think about other people who are in worse shape than you are first. And then it boomerangs into the whole what goes around comes around, and into the religious church views. And then it goes, one good deed returns another, which has been so misquoted as one good deed deserves another. No, it's one good deed returns another. Is how is what it really says.
I thought it was no good deed goes unpunished. No, sorry.
But where we're concerned, you damn right. Where people like us are concerned, you got it. Yes, that's exactly right. It's just the main thing is think about other people first. Think of, if you can't think about a starving child when you're sitting here and you've got a meal in front of you. Doesn't matter your car payment's late or your house payment's late, but you've got a meal in front of you. If you can't think about someone else who needs at least half that meal more than you do, you need to go that way. And this is not, look, I'm not saying this is going to get you riches. It's not going to get your car payment made. It's not going to get you the third floor apartment in your condo. It's about your flipping soul is what it is. Because it doesn't matter. We're born into this thing. We live, we grow, we fight, we piss, we love, we die. Okay? It's what happens after that. It's what happens after. It's the lessons we learn. It's the state that we die in. It's the state that our souls are in when we die. The dark side cannot touch a soul that truly walks in the light, because it walks in universal love. It walks in the absolute light of righteousness. The dark side cannot touch it.
Okay,
I don't care what they try.
All right. For some people, this is already in their soul, and they already get this. There's some people who this has been really programmed out. And so we're talking service to self versus service to others.
Right.
This really comes down to that.
We
Right?
live in the me society.
Right.
What's in it for me? What do I get out of it? Okay, you need a ride from work. Okay, great. What's in it for me? We can't, as a whole, as a society, we seem to lack the ability to do something nice for someone without the intentions of getting something back magnified.
Right. Well, what about super empaths? I mean,
I'm so sorry for them.
Yeah.
I know one. I feel sorry for them.
It's a really hard place to be if you're a super empath. You just can't handle everything. It's just like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Bottle of Jack Daniels every night. There you go. Knock it out.
Yeah. And
well, I don't subscribe to that. I'm just being facetious.
Right.
But
no,
I understand.
I'm very serious. I mean, empaths, really have a hard time. I mean, empaths, I don't think can be service to self.
They can't, because they pick up everything around them.
Right.
And I don't know what it is about being an empath. I'm only a slight empath. I pick up the ill intent of others around me. But even with that, I'm only a small empath, a very small empath. I can't imagine having the feelings and the pain of everyone that I meet around me. That's hard for me to fathom. But yet we're right here within 30 meters of one.
And they don't blend into society well at all. No. People don't understand them.
No.
And nobody really understands how almost lonely it is, because you have to almost isolate yourself, because it can be overwhelming. You can become very depressed. Yes. Very easily, I would think. But we need empaths, or we're not going to have any compassion for anybody too. I mean, we have to have this empathy, and we have to have, you got him?
I got that one.
Okay, you're really loud.
and you're happy about it. Good, I would be too. I've had a few really strange mocks come around. Yeah, I just get crazy-eyed until that sucker's gone. Okay.
Oh my God. You're gonna laugh.
Don't hit me.
Wait a minute. Don't you have to ask for forgiveness for killing that bug? Don't you? What about your karma? Wait a minute.
Hey, things I'm allergic, I'm allowed.
Yeah. But don't we have to ask for forgiveness or to be excused for killing the insect? It is a life. I mean, to what extent?
I don't care. Something that stings that makes my arms swell up like a beach ball.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't mean a stinging one. I mean, like, if there's like a spider that could bite you or something, and your instant reaction is, I don't like to kill spiders, but I kill ants, and I feel bad about killing anything, especially because when you kill an ant, you hear it crunch. Yeah. And it's so violent. It's really so graphic. It's terrible. Like when it's a big ant, and I feel like,
big black ones. Yeah, you crush them, it's like crap.
Yeah, they're black, and you hear the crunch, and I'm like,
yeah,
I just killed something, and I don't feel good about it. But you can't be crawling around my kitchen. Okay, so
it's about the same as being 20 miles back in the mountains, and you're hungry, and you see a squirrel in a tree, and you pull back, and then you cook him, and you eat him.
Ask for forgiveness for taking his life, or could you do something like that?
Oh, well, that's the Cherokee way, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's
right.
the native way. Yeah, you say the prayer over it. You do the forgiveness, release the soul back up to where it goes, so on. Yeah, I was taught that as a kid. Yeah.
Right.
Those were hornets, not honeybees.
Yeah, those weren't, okay, like she said, those were hornets, not honeybees. So.
I think you moved the camera just a little bit when you were going after that. But it's okay. Better him than you. You don't want any arms blowing up or anything.
I will not kill a honeybee. I will shoo a honeybee away, but
Yeah.
a hornet or a yellow jacket, now you're dead meat. Get close enough.
Yeah, I get it. I agree too, though. So I have to tell you, we're at what are we at here?
I know.
We were chatting for such a long time.
I know I'm running low on battery power. I know that.
25. Well, I didn't tell you I was going to wear you out, did I? So 3:25. So we're kind of like almost at the hour and a half mark. So maybe we should. We're just having so much fun, and I have to say thank you so much for joining us. But I want to kind of. If you want to, let's start closing this up and think, and Susan's welcome to join us too. You know, she has final thoughts.
No.
Come on. Come on.
Just lean in. Just lean in.
I'm shy.
No, you're not. Come on, you got your hair pulled up.
Oh, I'm shy
Your hair
too.
pulled up.
Like,
Right there.
okay.
There.
Hi, beautiful Susan. You're so beautiful.
Oh no, I'm camera shy, so.
See where you can hear and answer the questions with me.
I
Like I said, we're the yin and the yang here.
I just blurt out over this. I'm kind of like the backseat driver, passenger driver.
You know, what you guys are reminding me of is then this, maybe we could just finish on something really sweet and positive and beautiful. And that's this whole concept of twin flames. And what's so special about twin flames? Why aren't there more here? Can you tell us about that and how maybe we can identify? How do we know if our twin flame is here?
The only way.
I can't answer.
No, I'm thinking. I know one way that's absolute. I'm trying to think of another. The one true way that we know of is, imagine two candle flames, okay? Two different forms of energy. So you look at two humans, two different forms of energy. When they mesh together, they create a completely third form of energy, or they just bounce off each other, or they don't do anything. I'm working on it. Give me a second.
But here's my question.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can it happen if two people with the same ideals do that? I mean, you guys had to do that to some extent, but it's just not as powerful.
It's not as powerful. No, it's not.
But
It's not natural.
It can happen.
It can, but it's not
you can
natural.
still blend people's energies to create that third.
Yeah.
But it's not as.
Okay, wait, Susan, you really should be in here, Susan, because
No.
wait.
All right, no, I
You said
did.
something.
Get in here.
You said something so brilliant. No,
Cut
it's
off
something,
right here. They can't see.
it's something so
All I
brilliant
was,
that you said. It had to do with the
All
energy.
I was adding to is that it's not impossible when two people kind of do that, merging of energetic, frequencies. You do create a third. It's just, it's there, and depending on the practitioners, it can be strong. But the difference is that with the whole, I guess what they call it, the twin flames or whatnot, is that it's a lot more potent. The power is a lot more, is stronger.
Yeah,
but
the bad guys hate it.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's the blending of making that third. But it's not that it's impossible. That it can still happen, a blending of energies with people creating that third. But it's that when I guess the twin flames happen, it's the frequency, it's the mesh up that's it's for the formula of it has some special kind of energetic signature.
It creates infinity.
Yeah, it creates, especially when it's that compatible, something so compatible, holding one, the yin and the yang, and putting it together. It creates that wholeness.
Yeah, it creates the infinity symbol, which is the sacred circle, the perfect circle.
Right.
It folded on itself, which is what creates it, and it's never ending.
Yeah. So imagine putting like some kind of magical, putting an intention based on with that kind of backing and overlaying with that makes it a lot more, potent.
Well, it's like.
So what you're saying is that there's a quantum entanglement that is stronger, that has some sort of signature, that like we're supposedly all in quantum entanglement some here, right? We're
Right.
all in quantum entanglement. But when you meet up with your twin, you're supposed to have the same frequency, or there's something. It's a twin, so it's part. You maybe have part of that. Your frequency is part of their soul. Is maybe you have maybe one of their frequencies is also in your frequency.
Right.
You identify each other by frequency, but in a quantum entanglement way. So
Right.
that makes it so much more powerful, because it's kind of like two of the same frequency merging together and becoming a much stronger frequency, like a covalent bond,
Right. There you go. It's like a blending here. Like part of my soul is inside her, part of her soul is inside me. And so with that blending, with that mixing, with the physics and the math of it, it creates a whole new equation. It creates something entirely new.
So you guys are twin flames.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So my theory is that you each possess a half, or not a half. You each possess a frequency that that is identical, and not identical to anybody else's frequency, only to the twin. So that not all of your frequencies, but I mean one of your frequencies is identical to a frequency that your twin has, and when you come together, I mean I think you can identify that in the person even before your first kiss, probably. You know what I mean?
We met astrally, like
well, yeah, we met astrally before we ever met physically.
We never even got to talk about this stuff today. We did not talk about astral stuff.
Sorry.
We can't really go there yet. That has to be.
And it's like, if you want to see something freaky, sit down with us in an afternoon or something while we're having a discussion, and watch an hour-long discussion take, 5 minutes?
Well.
And it's like, yeah, okay, pause, got it, yeah. And people are looking at us like, what is going on? And we're talking to each other.
Now, are you guys telepathic?
With each other, yes. We know what the other's thinking. We finish each other's sentences. We know we think the same things almost exactly the same time.
Okay, so this is exactly like what I read about when I read about twin flames. And I know that not everything out there on the internet about twin flames is probably accurate, but I think
most of it's garbage. Believe me, I've read a lot. A lot of it's just so much garbage.
But don't you both have to be ready, because it's a huge, isn't it like a huge energetic? It's if you can't handle that frequency, if your frequency is not ready for that, then you won't make the union. Is that right? I mean,
that is more than right. That is absolutely right. The timing has to be exact.
I mean, so if you're lucky enough to have a twin on, incarnate on the planet right now, there has to be, I guess, it's all predetermined though before you incarnate it, isn't it?
Well, in this case, let's just say she came here kicking and screaming. Okay, we'll go into that later. I'll say this: it's more rare. There's people out there with websites and YouTube channels trying to do prayers for it. This is not something you can pray for. It's there or it ain't. This is bigger than we are here right now. And usually if it really is a pure 100% set of twin flames and whatnot, they're here for a purpose and a reason.
And can we just say that it just because I think there's a lot of pressure. It seems like when this conversation gets started that people want to find that twin or whatnot. You can still have soulmates and you can have a lot of value in relationships. It doesn't mean that you're not, evolving in that aspect. So I just want to kind of put that out, because I don't want to make it sound like that kind of, I guess, more holier than thou, that everyone has to strive for this and look for this. It's just it's more of a natural occurrence that just, happens.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do
She's
is
awesome. I'm sorry. She's awesome because
I know.
such a good point.
But don't put,
Yeah,
there's
you're
a
right.
lot of value in soulmates and a great relationship. There's a lot of growth and love and
Right.
deep, great, deep learnings, universal learnings and appreciation that can happen with just, soulmates and people of like attraction.
Well,
So
the worst thing you can do is go looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. So
No, it's an excellent point, Susan, and I say it because, like you're saying, people might get disappointed if they feel like their twin flame's not here or they haven't found their twin flame.
or they have these expectations that they're putting on this other person, and
Yeah.
it gets a little odd, and you might lose such a great, valuable relationship with that person that was meant to be in one way or another. But your expectations are like trying to hit this, this great energy, the rock's moving and all this other stuff.
Would you also say that to some degree, a lot of these people are actually misinterpreting and trying to find Mr. Prince Charming or Mrs.
It's
Prince
becoming a new type of
when neither actually exist.
Yeah.
Right.
We are who we are. It's our faults that make us perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
otherwise,
I'm really perfect.
that was good, Duncan. That was good. That was good.
Sorry. Oh, here's my
I
hand.
appreciate that. No, but it's true, because you're right. What you're saying is that people shouldn't have these expectations, because you don't know if your twins incarnate anyway, and if it's not meant to be. So find happiness in your relationships, and find happiness in even a soulmate relationship, because there's still great benefits to gain, like Susan's saying. Susan, you have to come on next time,
No, I'm camera shy.
Me too.
I can be a sexy driver, as I like to put it.
Well, you can be in the back seat.
I know.
Right here.
But what Duncan's saying,
on his shoulder.
right. But what Duncan is saying is that you have a mission. If you do have your twin flame here and you do meet up, there's a reason for you meeting up. There's a reason why the universe needs your energetic union at this time. And so there's something to be said for that. So, unless you're willing to get in the trenches and start battling, don't be looking for your twin flame. In other words, right?
We've been in the trenches, boy, we've been in the trenches. Whew.
So would you say that's a fair summation of that whole thing right there? Is that really you're kind of here when you have your twin? You're here for you have a purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not even a fair assessment. That's a given. That's a given. You're exactly right with that. If you are here as a twin flame and you are together with someone as a twin flame, you got your marching orders.
Right.
You may not know what it is today, but you'll find out.
I kind of think though.
Yeah, we do. But we're not telling. So.
Okay. Well, I have a feeling that people know, and they come together when it's the right time, and that's why they would know. You know what I mean? Like, so that kind of thing. I don't really think that it's, but I could be wrong. It's just my thinking about it is just that it doesn't happen till you're ready, until you both, it's how you intuit what you're supposed to be doing.
It can't happen until you're ready, because a lifetime here per generation is very small, very fleeting. You get one chance at it.
True.
And if you blow it, you blow it. There's no second chances per generation.
You said that so it's such a short amount of time, yet I feel like I've been waiting forever for things to change on this planet, and I've only been here 47 years, so it's kind of like, it's funny how time's relative.
Yeah.
But, and we'll talk about that another time. We'll be talking about time, and I think there was some, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if we covered it already today, but you said there was something that you wanted to talk about today that you hadn't talked about before. And I don't remember what that was about. Maybe Susan remembers.
Oh, you said that you were going to talk about something on the interview that you haven't talked about in other interviews, which I don't know what you're going to talk about.
Neither do I, because I swear to God, I don't remember.
No, you just said.
Yeah, I know. I remember saying, but which one was it?
I don't know. You want to just tell
There's
us?
several points. I just don't remember which one it was.
You never made it clear. You just said it more.
Yeah.
I think you were going to pull it out of your butt.
Oh, no, I was going to pull it out of my butt.
Oh, get that one. Get him.
I remember what it was. It's when you made the comment about, I just did an interview talking about the super soldier fraud
Oh,
and the building, the business of it. Yeah. I tell you what, let's do that next one, but we can sweeten the pot a little bit by
okay.
me putting this much of it out. That's very true. It was turned into a business. It was turned into a money-making scheme by some very select individuals. I was asked to be part of it. I turned it down. And it's gone on up from there. And it deals with porn sites, click-per-pay sites, a lot of millions of dollars being laundered. It's a big story. So,
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's quite a cliffhanger to leave us with.
yeah.
And we'll try to get into that and figure out what's going on with all that. And I just don't know what to say. We've had such a great time this afternoon, and Susan's been over there twice.
Hi.
Hi, Susan. No, really, Susan's has such great comments.
I know. She needs to be over.
They were always, no, they were.
I
they were
stutter.
really
I stumble.
Look, I can stretch it. You can fit. You can fit.
You gotta get the duo
I'm here
headphones.
to make sure that he behaves.
Ooh, good luck with that.
I just want to thank you so much for joining us on the GoldFish Report, and I know that you'll come back because you said you would. So I'm not going to.
Absolutely.
You said you would come back. We will do this again.
We
You'll
will.
get to meet the ambassador. We'll have a really great conversation. Have a
Sounds
good time.
good.
And is there any last thoughts that you? This is going to go out today. So is there any last thoughts that you wanted to, with anything that's imminent, that's coming up? We're almost at the end of August here. Is there anything? I'm not sure when we'll get to our part 2, but hopefully soon. But is there anything that you'd like to leave our viewers with today?
Yeah. Just be good to each other. Be good to one another. Look after your neighbor. You know, if you've got anything out there you need to forgive, go do it. You know, don't live with anger. Don't live with hate. You know, don't swallow it up. You want to fix yourself or help yourself, go fix and help somebody else. You know, let what goes around comes around in a good way. Not the ways of the darkness, not the ways of the bad guys, the cabal, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, so on and so forth. Do it the right way. Just get off your ass, put the video game down, and go out and talk to a neighbor and ask them if there's something you can do for them. You know, just try and be a good person.
Well, I think I've heard you say, Duncan, in one of your interviews, that love is the most powerful force in the universe.
It is, absolutely.
And I think that's what your message is. You're talking about the verb love, which means acting. It requires action. The verb is an action word. Love not as simply the emotion, but love as the act. And that's what you're talking about.
It's one thing to look at somebody and say, "Oh, I bless you with love and light," and say it, and then when the person turns around and say, "Yeah, can you stand that son of a bitch?" That ain't doing it. That ain't doing it.
That's not going to cut it.
If you're going to talk the talk, walk it. You better be able to walk it.
All right. And with that, we're going to leave it for today. And I want to thank Duncan and Susan for joining us today. This has been phenomenal.
Say bye.
Right.
We're here.
There she is. Thank you so much.
Keep poking me with my bun.
Really, I'm so excited. What an awesome GoldFish report today. And I want to remind our viewers that for information regarding Duncan's workshops, I'm going to post the website information in our description section of this video when it's posted. please follow us on Facebook at the GoldFish Report, and also like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, whatever makes you happy. We also want to remind our viewers that we have on Friday, for those who missed the beginning of this, Randy Kramer is going to be on Coast to Coast. So Randy's a friend of ours at the GoldFish Report, and we'd just like to remind our viewers and help support Randy. And if you like the programming that we provide on the GoldFish Report, please visit our guests' websites and donate, and keep this programming going so we can bring this information to you. We're doing it out of the love for humanity, and we can only keep it going with your support. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to all of our viewers, to Duncan, to Susan, and this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.